Oh, live.
Oh, here we go. We're live. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, welcome everybody to Ready, Set, Thrive. Today we are very excited because we have two guests for the price of one today, joining us remotely from different coasts, the same coast, different cities. First, we have Alison Clay-Duboff, and Alison is from Remax Estate Properties in Manhattan Beach, and she's a global real estate speaker who is also in if I get this right, the number 10 producer out of about 600 plus agents. I mean, she's a hustler, man. And then we also have the wonderful Michelle Cook with Compass Montecito. And Michelle is also consistently always in the top 5% of the producing agents in Santa Barbara. So we got some ladies in here who know their real estate and know what's going on. And it's an interesting story, these two here, as to why we have these two with us here today. Because this is your first time meeting, is it not?
Yes.
We're gonna
That's
talk
awesome.
about that. We're gonna talk about that. So basically, these two ladies here, and I don't have the right numbers because I know that they kept changing. But when we had the announcement of COVID, and then all of a sudden travel restrictions were laid down, and people were stuck wherever it was they were overseas. You guys were in Peru, right? Stuck in Peru, not together, separate, traveling with your husbands. And then there was how many Americans trapped in South America at that time?
At the end, it's like 8,500 is the last count I have.
Oh, wow.
And it's climbing. So I thought it was 200 when we started, but I think there was like 9,000.
Wow, because the reports were so different. Like those of us that were following what was happening here on the stateside, it was, interesting how the information that we received is somewhat different, right? And so it's interesting because at least social media kind of kept the pulse of reality as to what was really happening for those that were actually going through the experience. So
what we were getting was also inconsistent also.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, wow.
So these are juicy tidbits. Like all of a sudden I feel like I'm Katie Couric and like, so yeah. So, okay. Well, Ricardo, would you want to talk for us?
So this is exciting. I'm super excited because you all have been in the industry for a while. You're rock stars in kind of what you do, and Stacey and I are excited because we're both industry veterans, and with all of this sort of chaos, it's we still have to continue to market, but while being sensitive to sort of consumers' fears and concerns and things like that. It's almost like we've had to develop a master's in like crisis communication and, keep sane and all of that. But when Stacey told me that, here are two gals who are rock stars, who have built their business. But then when she mentioned you guys got stranded and stuck in Peru, I thought, wow, this is kind of wild. This is a little crazy. So my question and kind of to kick us off is, how did you not freak out? And I'm sure you needed a moment to freak out and panic and all of that sort of thing. But then it was time to sort of take care of business. So it'd be awesome if we could start there. Tell us about your experience. How did you kind of manage that chaos? And then when did you decide that it was time to get back to it and take care of business? How did you handle that?
Who wants to go first?
Okay. I do a lot of traveling, and as Stacey said, I do a lot of speaking globally to different groups and different real estate companies. So I'm used to traveling and working. I can't think of any vacation in the last 15 years where I wasn't working on real estate while traveling abroad.
Oh, wow.
That said, when I left, I think that the backdrop, we left on the 9th of March, and the backdrop was already sort of set that this COVID thing was out there.
Yeah.
But when I left, I had 3 open escrows and several buyers and sellers that were very, very active.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I just had to keep going.
And Michelle, how about you?
So when I left, I'd sort of planned this trip and then planned my business sort of around this. So I had 3 escrows I had 3 listings coming on at the day I got back, like starting 1, 2, 3. Like I was all lined up with my photos and all my marketing to happen then. I had 2 buyers that were just going to kind of wait until da. So my timing was perfect. We were actually scheduled to go to Thailand for a week, and we had the whole trip booked and paid for, and then the corona hit in China.
Yeah.
So they first canceled all our flights to Hong Kong, then they canceled all our flights in Thailand. So I had like a week to put, I went out and bought a globe at Home Goods and I was spinning it, trying to find where to go. And then I had these friends that went to Peru. They said, you should go there. And they gave us their tour company's name. And so we called them, and we were booked to Peru. So I didn't really even know what I was doing, but I was like, I have to go this week because my whole business is planned around it.
Right.
We closed a couple things and I was ready to go. So I wasn't really panicked, but then when I got stuck, I was like, oh, how's that going to happen? Like I need, but then my clients, we obviously then business shut down here. So it kind of became like a blessing. Like, it's like, well, you can't go on anyways. We weren't, this was before we were able to really keep going on, the first couple weeks. So I didn't freak out at all because I was like, oh, well, good. They're shut down. I'm shut down. Let's just have fun. Let's just enjoy this couple of weeks so that we can't do anything.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, I think one of the things that I noticed was that because you both are pretty savvy when it comes to social media, and you both have really been embracing how to use social media, not just for business, but just to deepen and strengthen the relationships that you have. And I really started to see that really came to fruition, even like triple-fold when it came to, when you were stranded. And I really loved how both of you, and I'd love to talk a little bit more about how each of you kind of implemented this, because both of you did a really great job of, keeping the people that you love and who care about you informed and aware as to what's going on, that you're safe, or even when things were a little bit, edgy, you were keeping people posted like, hey, there's 2 different ways that we can look at this. One, it's like, okay, I'm keeping, documenting what's happening. This is a part of my journey, part of my story. And 2, I might need somebody to know what's really going on over here. So I'm going to document this, right? And so I would love to hear a little bit more about how what kind of strategies you came up with, or what, because I bet you some of it you kind of came up with it on the fly of like, what's the best way to use this? Is there things I should do, should not do? What about you, Michelle? Like, what were some of the ways? Because I think you did a lot with press, didn't you, when you were gone?
Yeah, so for us, we were, and Alison, you probably experienced a lot of this, or maybe not because you were a little more remote on the boat, but we were like, no one knows we're here. No one knows we're here. So we got there. Our embassy, the U.S. Embassy, literally shut and chained their doors. They put a sign basically that said, don't bother us. They didn't answer their phones. They didn't answer the emails. So we're like, no one really knows we're here. Day 2, Israel sent their people home. Day 3, Mexico got their people out. We still haven't heard from our embassy. So what happened with that Americans that stuck in Peru app that we had a WhatsApp, people just put out the message, get PR, get press, whatever you do. So we were on CNN, we were on Fox News. Finally, this is not till day 3 maybe. So the message to from all of us was, get to your local people, get to your congressman, get to your press, get to your papers. So that's what we tried to do. I actually don't really know those people. So I had friends here Tracy Lure from Kayla is going to call you. I was like, who? And so people were calling me to do newspaper, or I was on the nightly news twice. I was on 3 radio stations. I was on the front page of our local paper. They pretty much hate me here right now. I mean, it's so obnoxious, and it's really not me. I don't really like that, but that's what we were sort of like. That was our message together, was we have to be heard. Trump did not notice us until day 5. Well, he didn't speak about us till day 5, which was a disappointing notice, but whatever. So we were really intentionally doing the press thing, but then social media is just a no-brainer, and especially when you have not a lot going on all day long. I'm not very good at posting really, but I got into this cute thing with my stories. First day I was like day 1, then day 3, and day 15 I was like how do you do it? So it was just, it became fun. There's so much, but then after a while I was like, well, what do you take pictures of? You're in the same place for 3 weeks. Oh, look at that flower. So we just tried to keep it fun and keep ourselves out there. And what's interesting is that, every person I see, even people I don't know now, I live in a small town, Alison, so it's very different, but they're like, oh my God, your Peru thing. And I was like,
Same.
everyone knows, whether it was the press or social media, but people
Yeah.
I don't even know in this town like recognize me because you're the one that was stuck in Peru. I'm like,
That's what you're kind of famous now, right?
yeah, I'm kind of famous and kind of hated. And so people are like, please, I don't want to hear another thing about your Peru trip. But that was our purpose, because we not so much for me it was easy, but there were people there that really needed to get out. I was with a woman that had asthma and diabetes.
Oh, wow.
12,000 feet, she could barely breathe. She was there for 3, pregnant people. There were families, there were people that needed to get out. So for me, I could probably still be there now, but I wanted to get the people out. So whatever we had to do, and we all did it. And so people with connections were really being exposed, and some of the people in the LA Times were people down there. So you probably had more of that, but that was our intent.
Yeah.
Well, I had press reaching out to me, I guess because it germinated from doing posting, which started off as the usual stuff, here we are, we're on our trip, here's this, here's that. And then it became a reportage. I have a degree in radio, TV broadcasting, so I was very excited to be able to put that in effect. But no, there was a small blurb that I didn't know about really in the Wall Street Journal, full name. I have people contacting me from all over the place. And then also our local papers ran 2 huge stories. And so fast forward, when we got home, just like you, Michelle, our village is quite small, Redondo Beach. I'd be walking down the street, Alison, oh, I'm so glad you're home safely. I'm following you. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
A lot of people can't travel or don't travel as much as we do. And I've noticed that I've developed a little bit of a following of people who want to see, where in the world are Alison and Ken now? And we always have crazy adventures and stories, some good, not so good. So people really felt attached to one of their local neighbors. And also my sister, she's a tenured professor at SC, and she does a lot of teaching all over the world. So she connected me with someone at the State Department who looks after her when she's there.
Right.
And also I don't know if you, Michelle, were signed up on STEP, but we always are signed up on STEP, which is the State Department alert system.
Right. Very important to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the State Department person that I had, her name is Miss Sunshine, believe it or not. I kept taking the picture of her business card and blasting it out, even once we came back home, because you did have this overwhelming urge to help people. And as you said, Michelle, I mean, we were on this beautiful boat. It was no hardship.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest hardship was not having your freedom. And the other hardship was
all the guns that you were posting, that kind of freaked me out.
So aside from COVID, we had some scary stuff that happens regularly on the Amazon. Is you do have pirates. They are real. So,
what?
Yeah. So 2 days before the lockdown, we're just cruising around in our stateroom, this big, huge, all 360 degree or 190 degree glass view, floor to ceiling. And we open up the curtains to see the moonlight, and we see the strobe light going back and forth. And so we went out and asked what was going on. And they said, no, we have to be very vigilant, because in 2017, a boat was attacked by pirates. I don't know what happened. I don't know the end.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
We had a guard with rifles and shotguns. We called him Sheriff John, we called him.
Wow.
But then after the lockdown, it was a scare, because we didn't know if people would want to sort of jump on the boat and steal our provisions, and would there be a have-not versus the haves, would there be some sort of aggression. So that was scary.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I noticed because I was following both of your journeys, because just for those of you watching the video here, or the live broadcast or rebroadcast, how these two are being brought together is I actually know both of these ladies. I have the privilege to work with both of these wonderful women, and they never met each other before today. Well, we've connected. I introduced them. I was like, you have to know each other, because you went through the same thing. Like, you were in the same stuck situation, but just in different corners of Peru. But that being said, I'm following both of your journeys, and I'm thinking, how do they have Wi-Fi? So somebody, you're in the middle of the Amazon, yet you have Wi-Fi. How does that?
There were days where there was no Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And at the time, my daughter had a medical emergency, and we were supposed to leave to get to Iquitos because we had to lock down in Iquitos. And we were in this little town, I forget what it was called, but it did have some reception. And so I begged the owner of the ship, please just let us stay one more night so that I know she's coming out of surgery and she's going to be okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that was the one moment when I really kind of lost it, was thinking that I'm going to be out of touch, no connection, and not know what's going on. But we stayed and she was fine. But no, I mean, internet was spotty. But then once we were in Iquitos, because we were stuck there and it's not a pretty place, we had internet all the time. We had CNN.
Yeah, so that was lucky. And then I'm assuming that you also had a direct connect throughout your stay as well, right, Michelle?
Yes. We had Netflix. We were watching movie. Like it was.
You were watching The Tiger King, weren't you?
I hate that movie. I hate that show. But the girls that we were on this trip from, these young girls, oh, you got to watch it. I was like, okay, we get on. I'm like, ew, I don't want to watch this. But yeah, we did watch it.
Everybody was talking about
so
this.
funny.
And we were like, what? Because we were so removed from them. What are you talking about?
I know, exactly, right?
Well, I think that it's funny that, here, we have all of this pandemic situation. And I think what it was that, we're all in shock. We're all going through, I mean, obviously your shock is very different than the shock that we had stateside, but everybody was just kind of in a state of like, this feels so surreal.
Is this really happening?
Yeah. And then just finding a sort of a common link of something humorous. And, we started to see on social media, and I think, Ricardo, you can attest to this as well, that, humor is one of the things that has really carried people through. And so I think that's why that crazy, ridiculous thing was one of those things that did bring that together, is because it's humor. And that helps us to kind of feel like there's not as much chaos happening and lack of control, which clearly none of us really have had. But one of the things I wanted to kind of tie in and loop in here, because you both said something as I was hearing you tell your stories, about how you're in these small communities and you have people that are coming up to you saying, wow, I followed your journey. For all of you that watch and you're thinking, oh, social media, it's just people playing around and it's not a real good use of your time for business. I feel like this is proof positive that when you work to communicate and you're authentic and you're sharing with people your journey, you're sharing with people what's going on and your personality shines, it does work. It does, because obviously you had people paying attention, right? You had people who were actually
clients. I heard from clients that I hadn't heard from for years.
Oh, wow.
Are you back? Are you okay? Is everything all right? I followed your story. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
that's super lining, right?
I had a client call me and he's, I'm so worried. Are you okay? I said, I'm fine. I'm fine. He said, good, because my niece is stuck there too. Can you find her? I'm like,
oh, wow.
And so he gave me her name. I texted her. She was stuck in Sacred Valley that I had just left. So
wow.
I kept in touch with her. She was like 22 from Boston. He was super worried about her. And I got her on our plane the day we left. And so she and I met at the airport. I hear somebody going, where's Michelle Cook? Where's Michelle Cook? And then I met her, took a picture
Oh, wow.
together and sent it to her uncle. It was just like, for them, it was like so, super important.
Wow.
Wow.
They kind of knew, and they're like, our niece is there, and this, so that we had a little bit of that too. It was kind of fun, just from being visible.
So did either of you find, like you said, you had a lot more time on your hands, and you were working on, keeping your business together, keeping things moving forward. That being said, did you find that you found some new tools along the way that were really useful to you when you were putting all these pieces together, or was it the go-to resources that really helped you keep things moving forward?
For me, it was, as I said before, I travel and I work all the time, so it wasn't too unusual. It was navigating internet connection and this and that.
Right.
Time differences, but from Peru, it wasn't a big deal. When we were in Bali in December, I was in a very challenging escrow. And that was hard because I think it's 15-hour time difference.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So time differences you have to figure out. But on this trip, I had, again, because of COVID, very challenging transaction. And so it was just trying to find the mindset and the peace of mind to just sit and connect with my clients and tell them, hey, I don't know if I can make the next call. We may need to have to do things a little bit differently and soften the edges around some of the strict rules where, we never let buyer and seller talk. There had to be some massaging and loosening of those rules.
Right.
So you do a really good job then, it sounds like, of managing and setting those expectations up front, because you have to.
Yeah. I mean, it's people know that I travel. I mean, this listing, that book that I sold in a day in Manhattan Beach, I left during the middle of the escrow, and it was a tough one, but he knew I was there, and I cannot say enough how difficult it was. we closed. When I got back, it closed, and he wrote me the most incredible testimonial.
Wow.
Saw that. It was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, there were times when I couldn't talk to him, and I said, I can't talk to you. And it was time sensitive and crucial, but I laid it all out and gave him, what he needed to know and not know, and what to say and what not to say. And we got it done.
Right.
So what are some pointers for people listening in terms of like how to communicate, how to set boundaries, how to set expectations? What's a sort of good process to follow that has guided you well? Because obviously you're doing a good job if you're getting to that point where they leave a raving testimonial.
Communication, calm, patience, listen before you speak, let them vent, let them be let you be the punching bag for them. This other transaction, again, it's not Peru, but it was Bali. Very, very challenging. Again, just awful. Like the worst you could ever imagine. Mold and joists breaking. I mean, just everything. First time buyers. And they sent a review also saying that I never broke a sweat. They never thought that I was, anxious or frustrated. It's like, wow, you never broke a sweat. Oh, yes, I did.
That sounds like a commercial. Never let them see you sweat. What about you, Michelle? What did you find as far as when you were communicating with clients and your brokerage back home? And if I'm not mistaken, you both have children that were also probably trying to figure out what's going on with you. How were you were you using social as your primary means of communication? Was it texting? What were you guys doing with your primary means?
For me, social media every day, but I think I was communicating, and with Alison, I think I agree. It's like you just have to stay calm and be available, and you kind of are available. So like I had 2 rentals that I was negotiating while I was there and working with a very high maintenance client, and not my client, but the renter who I was working with. So we were just on the phone. Like she's like, I keep forgetting you're stuck in a hotel room. I'm like, that's because I'm calm and being there. But I think you just have to right up front just say, this is where I'm at. I'm sorry I got stuck here. My guy that we decided, 2 listings that we decided not to go on. So we just had to just say, all right, so here's what we're going to do instead. And it's just staying calm and staying in touch, like just not disappearing from them. And then for my families and friends, it was texting. I mean, I've never been on my phone so much in my life. And then me to post every day like that. And Stacey will tell you, I don't like being in front of the camera. I still don't want to do videos, even though she's trying to make it.
And then I force you to do a live stream.
Yeah.
And then you can watch this when it's all over, I'm sure. But so I think I did it. And a lot of times I'll have my assistant do stuff. We'll go through posts and she'll sort of help me with that. But it was very authentic coming from me. Someone just said to me today, when you were in Peru, that was all you, 100% you. Like we heard you, we saw you. And
that's awesome.
So I think what you said earlier, Stacey, that really is true. It's still hard for me. I still don't like to watch myself on video, but I'm working on it. So, but texting for me was just constant. It's just constant. And then that WhatsApp app was when I had to turn off the notifications because we were on 2. And they were like every 30 seconds, it'd be like, oh my gosh, stop. So constant communication, but you had nothing else to do but be in communication with, everyone else. So it was good. You felt very connected by just staying connected, I think.
Well, and I was thinking about this, had we been in a different time and place, we didn't have social media, we didn't have the internet to connect us, this situation would have gone down very differently for both of you, or for all of those that were stuck.
Totally.
And it's funny how we tend to complain about, technology, all the noise and all the everything. And it's true. It is very toxic at times. that being said, something like this was a game changer, right? Your family had the reassurance that, okay, I know what's going on. You have the reassurance that, okay, at least I have a direct connect somewhere, somehow. And, I don't know, I've become, through all of this madness, I've become a big fan of grassroots communications, meaning, there's news everywhere, right? But nothing speaks the truth more clearly to me than people that are right there in the trenches doing it. They're in that thing, right? And so that's why one of the things that I have been a huge fan of is you'll see smaller groups pop up, especially like in social media, where people are connecting people in real time that are going through certain experiences, and you get a real finger on the pulse of what's happening. And I thought about that from a human interest standpoint. That's one of the things that was great. You guys had those connectivities with others that were going through the same thing. But then when you translate all of that into your business, you're back home. You probably wanted to detox from technology for a little while, I'm sure. But you're back home and you're thinking about, okay, I want to make sure that I'm now going to implement some of these best practices into my everyday business, right? Because you got good at it you had to, right? It was by default. But now it's like, okay, I can do this. I've got this. And so I've noticed something on each of you, that's because I know you both. And I've seen something different about both of you since you came back. So who wants to take a guess at what you're doing differently? And I mean this positively. Something positively. Have you noticed any of your behaviors have changed on social media since you've been back? Since your trip and coming back? You're way, way more engaged than you were before. Way. You're going live like a maniac, Alison. Like you are like, he's like, I'm going live. Here's my herbs in my counter. I'm like, yes, she is like ready to be there. And Michelle, like you're just really embracing, how to, showcase the light of who you are. And I like, for me, this has been really exciting because, those of you that know me, I mean, I love the ability for you to be yourself and to share, your light with others through social media. And for real estate professionals or for any industry, if you're an entrepreneur in any sector, it's hard. You're just like, I don't really want to put all my stuff out there. I need to keep that privacy curtain pulled a bit. And what I found is that when people kind of pull it back and just let themselves be them, people are gravitating to you a lot more. Have you experienced that through your experience in Peru coming back? Do you feel more comfortable now, sort of just being you and being out there? Or do you feel like you're pulling back?
No, I don't notice a change. It's just that the downtime I want to fill with being of service. So I try to keep my, whoever they are, clients, prospects, people that just see me on social, about, what are the new regulations and the PEAD form and what you need to know and what you can do, because it's changing constantly. I got home on the 27th of March. There's been so many changes in the real estate industry on a weekly, daily, hourly basis. So I want to keep people in tune with that. Plus, I'm just a natural kook. So
you're not a kook. You're just.
I'm more than I'm the me who's more than the realtor, and we're all whole people. And so if I'm not saying something about real estate, then okay, we're all bored, we're stuck, we're home. Guess what I'm cooking? I lay out my ingredients and have a look. What is it I'm making? So if I can, and this goes back to Peru, if I can make someone smile during this time, then it's all worth it. On the ship, we had 3 other passengers and 18 staff. And the 18 staff, I knew they were missing their families. They were stuck with us. They weren't going anywhere. They had smiles. They were of service.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They were so intensely warm and loving and upbeat and informative. And I felt it my life's mission to make them happy. And so I did crazy things on the boat. And that's one of the stories I can tell later. But it really always does, but helped me knowing that I could keep them happy and the other guests as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome.
It's really fun.
So fantastic. Well, Ricardo, did you have any other questions that you wanted to pop in? I know that we're kind of creeping up on that half-hour mark, and I want to make sure I keep everybody on point here.
No, I think you both pointed out some very good things. You know, right now, we just tell our agents there's two types of consumers. There's consumers who are sort of in the game right now, and we have to, Alison, as you said, just be of service and continue to be of service to them. And then there's the consumer who's sort of sidelined themselves because they want to wait till all of this sort of blows over, see what the quote unquote market does. And they've made a conscious decision that that's what they're going to do. So I think we need to focus our efforts on serving our current customers and serving, you know, those folks that are in the game right now to buy or sell something. And you both have done a phenomenal job. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And you will continue to do so. Yeah, it's been really, really fun to, you know, follow the journey. And, you know, I'm really glad to see that you're taking the time to keep everyone informed. Like you said, the changes are constant. I do want to ask both of you, where do you find that, are you monitoring the CAR? Where are you focusing on your brokerage websites? Like, where are you getting your most recent updates that you're keeping the consumers educated on? Like, what's your go-to resources?
In-house legal counsel. And then she sends us over to CAR and NAR and whatnot.
That's great.
In-house legal counsel, they are amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Same with us. It's Compass sends out so much stuff, but we get one every single day with links to cars stuff. We just got one today with all the pathways, and it's amazingly helpful. We don't have to go looking for it. It all just comes to us.
And honestly, I feel like in the middle of something like this, showing the being part of a really strong brokerage with really credible backing and strong leadership, this is those days where you're like, thank goodness I made this choice, right? Because you start to see, I really need to make sure that we have the most informative information to get back to the consumer, as well as that we're making the right steps constantly. So what a privilege to make sure that you know able to do so. So fantastic. Well, thank you, ladies, both for taking time out of your busy days to come and do live. And just, Michelle, thank you for doing this live. And by the way,
that was a big deal for me.
We have to talk. We have to talk.
I dropped this on them like at 4 o'clock yesterday. Hey, you guys, you want to do a live tomorrow?
I was like, you gonna have to wash my hair?
So I really appreciate that. But I mean, you know, you guys are flexible. If you can survive being stranded in the Amazon, you know, do that live at 3 p.m. with Stacey, Soleil, and Ricardo Bueno. Thank you so much. And just, you know, just to kind of wrap up, we just want to say to everybody that is watching this live or that's going to watch the rebroadcast, thank you so much. And, you know, Ready, Set, Thrive, we come to you weekly bringing interesting voices of people that are navigating how to thrive in today's busy, crazy, unknown charter territory. And if you find value, just know that we are here and we are here to help and guide. And we are brought to you, powered by West. Both Ricardo and myself are author contributors at the Modern Day Agent website. So if you want to read any of those articles or get any more information, we'd be happy to help you. You can either privately send us a message or you can leave your email down below. Either way, we are happy to help. So thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Michelle,
Alison, let's connect.
let's connect.
Absolutely. Okay.
BFF.
Everybody.